So I wanted to start it off with that, just to say that LUDACRIS is that guy.
Yeah, I like Lucas.
Yep.
Man, money is strong with him right now.
Oh man, like what did he say? He says taking his watches with him on his private jet.
Let me take my time.
Like, the thing is I don't even think of stuff like that. What do you think the state of the one-liner is today?
They're really trying to shoehorn in "Don't mess with the special investigators."
Oh
which is
man,
just
and that
not
is
cool.
so cheesy.
It is not cool.
No,
man.
I know.
There's nothing, or in an investigation, details matter.
Yeah.
It is not cool.
So let me start with this. Who was your favorite sound guy to work with, and why was it me?
It's you.
Yeah.
Because you're
why?
you're the only person that encouraged me to turn up my amp.
That's a lot of fun.
Okay.
And
Sounds
LUDACRIS is real clever. Let me know if you need me to turn it up.
Whatever's heavy on my heart is always on my mind. Like Snoop's cannabis shredder, I'm always on my grind. They throwing shade cause niggas could never take my shine. I bring my watch collection on my jet, let me take my time. Like fine wine, I'm aging like Benjamin. Top 5, I'm worth mentioning. Bring me rappers, I'm lynching them. See the pendulum swing, Jesus with diamond thorns. LUDACRIS, swaddled in Gucci linens when I was born. Never been Illuminati, only a Ludanati. And I only left with bitches when coming from any party. Now I'm married with kids, the evolution of life. Never been a clout chaser, never say shit for likes. R.I.P. John Singleton. You never have to flex when you earn every one of your Fast and Furious checks. Afro with the sideburns. Yeah, that's my signature. Addictions on the rise. Comedians check your temperature.
Man, he's that guy though, you know?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Pause that. Let me get this out the way. So I wanted to start it off with that, just to say that LUDACRIS is that guy.
Yeah, I like Lucas.
Yep.
He's he's a vibe. Also, like, man, money is strong with him right now.
Oh man, like what did he say? He says taking his watches with him on his private jet.
Let me take my time.
Like, the thing is I don't even think of stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that caliber of money or whatever, that understanding or like expression of money is so far away from where I am.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And that's okay.
There's something about that though. Like he's got a man, I don't know. It's like a type of wealth that you can just see he's landed into, which is like peace. Like he's got his bag secured.
Well, you can hear it like in how comfortable he is.
Exactly.
Like he's just sitting there just on Instagram Live or something like that, just feeling himself. And it's just so smooth and rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rich.
And rich, yeah. But I mean, like that's an interesting idea to me because like, I don't know. There's a lot of like questions about like money and like happiness and things like that. And I think that people look at it wrong.
Okay.
I think like happiness is not the measuring factor. It's like how present can you be in your life? Because like if you are able to be present in your life, that's good. And I think more stability and security, financially, whatever you want to call it. And like obviously he's got family, so like the more of those underpinnings of like good health that you have, and like finances would be one, food, family, love, health, like physical fitness. The more of that stuff that you have like peace and contentment. And I don't necessarily think that's like happiness, but the ability to engage with happiness because you don't have the deterrent of trying to chase something. I think that's what you see in that.
Okay.
It's kind of like he's got a level of peace that is from doing hard work for so long and having that stable foundation, that like life build that makes it so that he can rest in and enjoy. And I don't think that's happiness. And I think people are like, would look at that and go like, oh, private jet. Oh, private jet. That's happiness. It's like, no. No. He said wife and kids. And he knows they're provided for. He has security as best as he can create for the future or whatever. And it's like, that's a deeper thing in my opinion. And I do think that like having those needs met and then not needing to fixate on more, I think is the key. It's like if you have your needs met and then you don't have this like anxiety push to like, oh, I got to get 10 times this now, then all of a sudden I think it's like you can engage with your life in a different way. And I do think that that's an element of health. Like financial health is, I think, a thing. And I think people are too quick to dismiss that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it won't fix all your problems. No, it won't. Getting healthy in all of these areas is a part of life.
Well, understanding that you're worth 20 million or whatever Ludacris is worth, 200 million over his whole movie thing or something, I think I heard, but that might have been just someone throwing shade. But like when you have that, it could be like a beast of burden kind of.
Sure.
Or you can find a way to like come to terms with, I'm that dude and I'm going to enjoy it. Cause like, just even like the phrasing of like, you know, like, let me take my time. Like that's fun. It's being fun with your riches.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think if you had like a fear around it, or like if it was like a ego thing, like I have all this to prove that I'm that guy, like I don't think that he would approach it in that direction. Like this is a fun thing. It's a lively thing.
Well,
right?
and that's, you know, like he's got security, right? So engaging with wealth out of trying to downplay insecurity is not the right way to look at it. And that's where it's like, oh, I got to show, I got to do all these things. I've got to be flashy. I got to get more money, like the famine mentality. It's like more has to come in. But like if you have security, as in like he knows that he created his life in terms of how it is currently. And like, obviously he's done good at it.
Yeah.
So he can sit there with confidence that if it was all gone, he has skills that accrued X, Y, Z. And that's that. I mean, not to harken back to what I seem to keep talking about, but competence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like being good at stuff gives you that kind of certainty that you can keep going.
Yeah.
If you need to.
Well, and it's like, it's that whole vibe of like when you walk in the room, like you're not even looking at other people.
Yeah.
You know, or you don't assume people are looking at you. Like you're just in your bag, just doing your thing, right?
Well, and it's security.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I don't know. I think people look at things a little bit too insular, if that makes sense. Like a little bit too isolated. That the idea that money is the thing that fixes things. No, it's like the being able to look at your life in each place and gain competence in those places. When you have accrued the competence, you will be able to view that area with peace rather than insecurity. And I think that's different for everybody.
Well, it probably comes down to like a part of that competence is understanding where you are in your life at this moment. You know what I mean? Like true mindfulness is understanding like I don't know what the normal situation is, but like this is the job I have to do. This is the job I have. It provides for my family, so I'm going to buckle down and do the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that comes, or there's a certain level of like competence that has to play into that too. And if that comes with 20 million or however many million, it doesn't change the fact that you have to understand that that's your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think the metric all of a sudden doesn't matter. I think for some people, like they use it as like a scoreboard
Does
or
it
like
not
a
feel
finish
like
line or something.
diluted? Like the more and more money people like consume or talk about and everything, does it not just feel more and more diluted? Like if someone has like, it's your first million and you spent it all on your mom and dad getting the house of their dreams.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But then once you get to like 200 million, it's like whatever you do is so diluted.
Well, yes and no.
You know what I mean though?
I think it's like a matter of perspective, right? So like for one person, okay, yeah. Like there's a point where money won't make any sense. And, you know, a lot of people like to look at things like that, where it's like, because with us, like, I mean, I'm not financially killing it by any stretch. So for me, it's like hard to see money outside of my little sphere, right? But if all of a sudden you've grown a sphere so big that it expands well beyond your life, right? Like it's just one of those like, oh, I affect
generational thing almost.
Not even that. It's like your wealth, whatever it is. So like if you create a business, right? Because that's what a lot of people like.
All
to
of a sudden we have a camera guy, audio guy, like a whole team of people below us, or not below us, but working with us.
Yeah. Your thing is now expanded to provision for other people's lives, right? And then so naturally it's like that bubble grows bigger and bigger. And then, but people, when they view the number, they like to still think the way that we're used to thinking, which is just like, well, my bubble, right? So it's like you look at like an Elon Musk or something like that. Like I've tried to defend Elon Musk a few times because I don't think people understand money when it comes to the size that he is at. It's like he yes, he has a ludicrous amount of money, but his bubble of provision, he's got at least 2 ludicrous amounts of money. But like his bubble is so large that it would have to be like a large amount of money at the center of it. You cannot grow a bubble that big. You cannot have that many people's livelihoods affected without increasing your own bubble to be commensurate with that. Right?
You can't be the blind leading the blind, right? You have to have your level of competence to be able to drive the machine that is worth stretch and stretch and stretch.
Well,
right?
and like the argument being is like, if all those other people don't have that bubble, your bubble doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like,
fair.
That's by increasing your community or your, business is the easiest way to look at it. But like his bubble's going to get bigger because all of those other bubbles exist. And if you remove them all, then
there's nothing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's the whole idea of it. It's not his personal bubble in the same way that we think of it. He's managing millions of other people's personal bubbles. And naturally his will look insane because of that. And I think there's like two different lenses of how people seem to approach money when they get an exorbitant amount of it. It's like indulging their inner child or indulging their inner monk. It's like I either buy all the shit and nobody tells me no because I'm a child, or I realize that all of that has no meaning and I move away from it all. And I move into legacy, eternity, whatever you want to call it. And you see that with people. Like Bezos all of a sudden goes off and balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Starts giving his money away.
Yeah.
And
well, and
I'm not trying to defend any of these people because I know they do terrible things to get to where they are sometimes. But it is just like, it is interesting to see that switch where it's like, okay, like this ludicrous amount of money no longer does anything for me. So I'm basically just hand over fist, just getting rid of it and living my life on the way. Well,
and or like, trying to make it so that more people's bubbles can increase.
Yeah. I hope that's at the root of it.
I mean, I think it's a byproduct no matter what.
That's fair.
They might not have that intention, but like to grow something, you can't grow it by yourself for very long.
Yeah.
Like eventually, if it grows big enough, you have to start incorporating outside of yourself. And once you're doing that, it's happening whether or not that's your intention or not. Like you may look at it really sociopathically and as though those people are tools and I'm going to use them to grow myself and my own ego. Sure. Okay.
But at the end of the day,
you're
it's still
doing it.
Yeah.
It's
like still happening.
Yeah. And it could be your intention or a byproduct. And I would hope intention, because like, I think that's just better. You know what I mean? To try and grow other people's security and happiness and well-being, I think is a wiser thing to do. And I think would promote more of a peace type structure.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of interesting because like we just got through the holiday seasons and I understand that everyone has mixed emotions around Christmas and different beliefs and different times. And like I had a pretty tough Christmas season this year. But like you could choose to look at that as like a capitalistic event to try to make money and pour stuff in it before the end of the year and all the stuff, right? Or it's like, it's a time to give and just kind of be you and follow your heart a little bit. And I just like to look at the latter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I understand that the prior or whatever is out there, it's real, but I just kind of refuse to look at it. And I try to avoid it. Like if something is obviously like you're just trying to make a buck off me, like, you know what I mean?
For me, like I don't hate the idea of giving gifts by any stretch. I like that. I wish I could afford to do more because it's actually something I just enjoy. I don't particularly like getting gifts. I'm bad at receiving gifts. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but getting better. But it's like
turn this up a little towards you.
My thought is always kind of like I appreciate the idea that we get a reminder of the things that we kind of should do for each other. Like I appreciate that about a holiday. I appreciate that about it being scheduled into our lives, literally. But at the same time, my idealism steps in and goes like, man, we should just do this anytime.
Yeah.
We should just like, I wish we could just do this as living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, hey, I came across this today and thought you'd liked it. And I got you a card too.
Yeah.
Like,
and it doesn't have to be crazy. It's just showing people that matter to us that, exactly. I pay attention to who you are and I'm letting you know that through this thing. You know what I mean? And it's just tokens, right? Like it's not like they'll all go to ash eventually, but at the same time, it's one of those like connection type pieces. And I love that. I love that idea. And I kind of wish that it wasn't based on the economy and making it so that we kind of continue to exist in this churning of things.
Yep.
But like, it is what it is, and we got to take the win where you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like, I think we forget about it too quick. You know what I mean? Like it would be nice if we could do it always, but hey, let's utilize the day if we need to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going to take a moment and introduce y'all to the episodes. We are on episode 22, I want to say, the BEL podcast. I was just looking earlier. And this is the first time we've sat down and recorded since the holidays. So to pick back up where we were, how was this holiday season for you?
Good. It was a lot of somewhat turmoil-ish.
Okay.
Just family things. Like, my Oma is kind of becoming, well, she's got dementia now. And so there's a lot of change happening for her, a lot of change happening for my folks because of that, and a lot of decisions that they've had to make over the last while. So it was good because like it was nice family time and dinner and all that stuff. But at the same time, it was a lot of like emotions, I think, were happening in amongst our house. And like with my family in general, like I try and make sure that I'm as supportive as I possibly can be. Because like, I know this stuff's hard. I know I view the world a little differently than most, and I engage with these situations a little bit differently than most. And I just try and encourage them all to feel their feels. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're open enough to like let your family represent the holidays the way they need to, and to just be like a part of that. It doesn't need to align with all your beliefs. Yeah, it's just it's more for like the purpose at hand, right?
Yeah, and I think this year it served that purpose, which was good. We all had, everybody was over that could be over, and it was nice. But other than that, I have a bunch of friends that were having a really hard time, and I was trying to help out in those areas too. And those areas are always tougher because like seeing people hurting especially when they're in a situation where the world is telling them that everything should be fine, and their dynamic of either their family situation or their current life situation is not within the hunky-dory version that the world tells them it should be, so they end up beating themselves up over it more. And that's the harsh kind of like duality that seems to exist within Christmas. It's like you have some people that are able to enjoy it, and their life situation is able to be kind of togetherness and family and love and all those things. And then there's some people where they don't have that relationship with their family. It might be a relationship entirely of pain. And then they're sitting there watching everybody else do the thing, wondering what happened. And that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've always been the house to like have open doors for Christmas. Like if y'all don't have dinners or plans or anything, just come show up, just come hang out, have a couple drinks, have some turkey.
Yep.
And let's do this, right?
And I think I wish more people would be able to do that. I know it's hard for people to let people in.
I was just going to say, it's hard, like empathetically, to let people in situations like that when you're just trying, because like, and I don't want this to sound like I'm like talking down about anyone's situation, but like if I'm bringing you into a happy situation, I almost feel guilty about that a little bit, especially if like the person can't actually take it in. Then it's like you like. It's gonna sound rough too, but it's like you might be better off being by yourself in those situations if all you're feeling is that like you're being stared in the face or laughed at or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, especially if you don't feel understood in the situation.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is really hard.
And there's only so much like ignoring a situation that a person can do that's like right.
Yep.
Like I can only pretend that everything's okay so much before it's like disrespectful almost, right?
Yeah, that's and you don't want someone to have to live in a lie either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they're going through a time, they need to go through that time.
Yeah.
Like do it.
Yeah. Live in it though. Like, and that's part of the competence of like yourself is like, that might be something that you have to experience.
Yeah.
And until you can fully experience it, like you might be stuck to experiencing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I live that in a few ways, and trying to sort through that, learn whatever lesson it is that I seem to be ignoring, and try and learn it so I can move on from that behavior or whatever you want to call it. So I'm very familiar with it, you know?
But you know, like in the calendar, it's a good time to start practicing that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I told myself that I wouldn't let the seasonal changes get me down. And I didn't want that to be like affected just because Christmas came and went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. Like I had a tough year. you know, like anyone trying to start their business in the first couple of years, it's tough.
Yeah.
And like I watch amazing things happen around me and I try to appreciate them as like gifts of gratitude and not as like hey man, if you made better decisions, you could be doing these things too, right? Because it seems to be the curse. And
well, that's like, I don't know. Because that's like, that would be like living in the past, right?
yeah.
And it's not necessarily that you can't take that information and use it to inform your decisions in the future, but like living in the past is just a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Looking at it going like, I should have done it. Like
Could have or whatever, right? Yeah.
It just won't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
But especially if you look at it without compassion. You know what I mean? If you can look at it with compassion of just like, hey man, we should do this next time. You know what I mean?
We should try this out maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how I have to talk to myself quite a bit. Is when I know that there's things that I shouldn't have done or should have done differently. It's like I could be really hypercritical, or I could try and teach myself in it and speak kindly, so I'll hopefully hear it. You know what I mean? I don't respond well to a bully, and that's internally or externally.
Yeah.
I
So if you are bullying yourself, do you leap to attack yourself? Or is it like a defense thing? Like when you understand what you're doing, you see the conflict at hand, are you going to step in between the bully or do you lash out at the bully when it's yourself?
That's a good question.
Because like Macho Jesse is like, oh man, I'd be in his face, I'd be breaking his nose and all that shit. But it's like when it's me now staring myself in the mirror, sometimes I just turn around and walk away, which isn't the healthiest thing either, right?
So I think there's two versions of me. There's like the bully side of me that seems to be like, how would I say it? Older, I guess I would say. And then like the side of me that needs to be talked to is younger. And so back in the day, it was very like kind of one-sided and helpless. Because like when I was really depressed, it was just not a good time in my head. And it was just very kind of like the bully was loud, you know?
I bet.
And now all of a sudden that I see myself differently, the bully is changing their language.
Okay.
That's the best way I could describe it.
Okay.
I'm not like that communication is becoming less vicious.
Is it kind of like not fake it till you make it, but like the more seriously you take yourself, the more seriously others take you? So it's like now there's like maybe a bit more of a respect for the journey.
And I think understanding like, okay, I'll look at it this way.
Okay.
So like, I would say I was getting mad at myself for things that I didn't know how to do, if that makes sense.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. So like my internal dialogue was beating myself up over things that were not within my knowledge space. At least if they were supposed to be, I didn't know how to get there. And that was usually where I was the harshest critic. It's like, I should be doing this. This like, I had this weird, unreasonable expectation over myself in areas that I felt I was underperforming in, even though I don't have the skill to perform at the level that expectation was set at.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I mean younger.
Okay.
It's like this area is just less skilled, and I'm talking to it as though it is hyper competent.
Okay.
And it's failed from the thing it should have been able to perform, right?
Okay.
And so when I'm looking at me now, I'm realizing it's not that I can hold this expectation for the thing that doesn't know what to do. I need to train me in terms of being able to be competent in those areas. Okay. Because like the way I saw myself at that point was just like a child. Like I was just one of those like, oh, I'm unskilled. I'm ungrown in this area. I'm young here.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's different areas of my life where I'm really hypercritical of myself, thinking that I should be somewhere where I am not, but I have not done anything to grow that area.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
So it'd be like, and I'm just going to put some what's to this. So you expect yourself to have a certain level of emotional capacity while have not going through enough emotional things to have that emotional capacity you're demanding of yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm following.
So like an easy one for me is my relationship to food and health and weight gain.
You expected yourself to be at a certain like in shape or look a certain way without having the education of how to get there.
Without having the knowledge of what it's supposed to feel like. Like I was very closed off from the idea of feeling good. And now all of a sudden it's like I'm trying to let myself grow into the area of paying attention to the things that make me feel good. Because apparently for some reason I was very shut down in that area. The idea of me feeling good.
You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's from a very, in my head, very young age. So it's like that area of me, really young in the way that I look at it. So it's like, okay, well, I don't even know what good looks like. I've been healthier, like I've been skinnier. I remember like I used to do P90X and we go to the gym, but I'd never let myself really experience the feeling of feeling good. I would focus on the negatives. I would focus on the feeling of diet, the feeling of restriction, the feeling of soreness, the feeling of, oh, I got to get up, that kind of thing. And rather than focus on learning the feeling of the good. And one of the things that kind of helped me, there was a podcast a while back. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But the way the guy explained it was like he had this theory of like, because he was trying the carnivore diet at the time, and he kind of was like, well, I think I'd probably incorporate some stuff. And he said, I think probably the best diet I could make for anybody would be to tell them to eat something and then write down how they feel an hour later.
Yeah.
And it was one of those like, how you feel. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's like, oh, that could tell you how you're doing. And it feels so rudimentary to say this, but like I really didn't put that together, that the idea of feeling good means that you did something good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's where like I just, from my history of the way that I grew up, I had put it in my head that feeling good was bad for me.
Yeah.
It's like for other people it's fine, but feeling good for me, bad times.
Comes with bad things.
So now all of a sudden I go, well, okay, if I'm standing there and I go, man, I feel really good, that means whatever I'm doing is good. And if I'm standing there feeling, I feel bad, oh, whatever I'm doing is not good.
Yeah.
And it sounds so like juvenile to say, but like that's how I've had to look at me in that area of like, oh, I have no idea. And I never let myself grow up in the area of understanding my internal feeling of this.
That's really interesting.
Well, because a lot of the ways that I would experience good was escapism.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily that I'm doing good things to feel them and experience them. It's I'm doing good things as an escape from having to feel whatever it is. So like when Mike and I used to play shows, he and I used to talk about this all the time. We never left a show happy. Not once. We picked it apart.
I remember that.
Every single time.
Yeah.
We were the worst to be in a band with for that reason.
We used to joke that we would separate you guys on the drive home so you could actually enjoy the show. I don't know if you ever knew that, actually.
That would make sense. But it's like...
I endured some long drives with your brother, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
just the two of us in the truck.
But this was the thing that made sense to me anyways, and I'm sure it made sense to him too, where it's just like to enjoy the thing, to feel the good, was like something that was not supposed to happen for some reason.
Yeah.
And so I did some really cool things and never felt them.
Oh, yeah.
And only now I look back and I can feel a bit of it.
I have nothing but trauma to remember my audio career. And I'm healing that doing what I'm doing today.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, I literally can't, like, outside of interactions or like good gigs, all the like extra stuff was all traumatic. 100% of it.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding you.
No, I get it.
And if it wasn't at the time, it ended dramatically. Like it was really, really, really bad. And that took a toll on how I approached a lot of things moving forward, because I thought that if I was going to do my own thing, it would hurt people and I would hurt people.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? And it's like, now I have to balance, like, am I willing to invite people in here because I'm going to hurt them? Or do I just leave them out and do it myself and just be lonely, right?
Yeah.
And it's a scary thing to face, but it's like the only person that can change that is me, right? All I can do is make sure that I don't yell at you for something that you don't deserve to be yelled at for.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't have to be that person anymore, right?
Is hurt bad?
Not anymore, because that's what I was going to tell you. Like the feeling that you're describing comes with the feeling of loss. You have to lose. So, and like you have to be uncomfortable. Like you have to give up. If it's weight loss, you have to give up whatever it is that makes you comfortable, whatever your habits are, and you have to struggle through those and lose to literally lose the weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the success comes from I dug in, I grabbed on, and I like gritted my way through this for 12 months. Here I am. My body functions. I'm the way that I imagined. Like it won't come if you just get like a needle in the arm and you look the way you want to look.
Yeah.
Right? And like we could talk about all the hard work and the steps and all that stuff all the way, but it starts with loss.
Well, see, I agree if that's the goal.
It's just loss doesn't have to be a bad thing.
No, certainly not. Just like pain. Loss was something that you cared about.
Yeah. I had to walk away from some of the most influential men in my life during my developmental years, and I haven't talked to them in 10 years. A couple of them in like 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I hate it. And the more successful I am here, the more I feel like I want to rekindle with them and try to, but this is where I stop myself because I'm trying to prove that I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I don't need their like recognition. I got y'all, like these beautiful people online, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the healing for me. But it came with loss. I lost those relationships.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I get that. It's really challenging because it's like, I don't know, we tend to give things meaning, or not meaning, but like we give them emotion, maybe more than what the emotion is there to serve us for. Like, so
It's a really good point.
like loss is important, sadness is important, pain is important, just as the other side of the coin is important. Like we have that ability to experience all types of sensation in terms of like a varying degree of it, right? It's kind of like temperature. Temperature is just it's hot or cold, and it's everywhere in between.
Yeah.
And you don't want to only experience one. Like you just don't. Because that's a part of sensation that's letting you know something. And again, now that I kind of understand that, I don't resent the pain as much. You know what I mean? If I'm in a tough spot, or if I'm in a place of hurt at that time, it's trying to tell me something, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And whereas before it was like, okay, bad feeling, escape into XYZ, whatever. And
I do think that you were on the correct path for a lot of it, because you probably healed a lot of things through music and playing guitar the way you did and writing. It's just, I don't know if the intention was there because you didn't have the clarity on it that you have today.
the way that I listen to it, when I listen back, I hear the voice that was repressed in me trying to come out through the music. Like, there's been a couple of times where I will hear guitar playing that I've done. This is going to sound almost egotistical, but what I can hear is I can hear my heart on the other side of it, and I can hear the voice that's trying to come out. And that's the thing that kind of makes me cry.
Your Venom suit is baked into your guitar playing.
Yeah,
trying
pretty
to come
well.
out. Yeah, I got
pretty
you.
well. Like I always had like massive sounding guitar.
Oh yeah,
Like I don't know why.
yeah.
But whatever I picked up, it was like the chord was bigger than it should be,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I covered more.
We still
space than I
complain about
should.
that. We still complain about that because nobody can figure out how you play guitar. I've asked you that just about every time we play guitar.
Well, and I don't know. It's just that was me trying to come out. Like whatever voice I was pushing down was finding its way out in that instrument at the time. And now that I see that, and I'm kind of like trying to let that voice out naturally, not just put it through one instrument, I can understand it more, and I can see where I was shutting myself off from parts of life and just trying to push it all into the one, and then getting really frustrated with that not scratching the itch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I was still trying to hide. I was still trying to repress whatever it is that I was repressing. And I thought that the guitar thing or whatever, I guess at the time, was supposed to make me not feel that way.
Okay.
And I think that's why I approached it with such hypercriticalness, because like if it was just right, I'd feel okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I realize like that's never the way that it is.
Yeah.
You don't get to do something out in the world and have it fix how you feel inside.
Yeah.
And
So I started my last podcast episode off with a stat. This dude studied at Harvard, and he said that we expect that our external world predicts 90% of our long-term term happiness, when in reality, it's how we interpret the world predicts 90% of our long-term happiness.
certainly.
Yeah. That's exactly what you're talking about right now.
Yeah. That's where like being able to shift your perspective and view situations through multiple lenses, I think is a way of gaining health in relationship to certain things.
Yeah.
And I don't like, that's not a skill they teach in school.
No.
When I was a kid.
Self-value isn't anything that anyone teaches, I don't think.
No. And I think it's a scary thing to teach, because if we're talking self-value, all of a sudden we can get like self-conscious and feel as though we are describing something egotistical.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like the me that I'm talking about, that I want to be fully expressing, is the imperfect one. Like I don't get to be only the good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get to be the polished version that would be the ego. I don't get to hide away everything. I'm
Every
either
mistake,
me or
every
I'm
cut,
not.
every scratch.
Yeah.
Because the ego, if the ego took over, it would just be this polished, perfect project that was handed out.
Which ironically never happens.
No, of course not.
Like, if anything, it makes it so it's way harder to connect with the world.
See, I would prescribe to you that you need to find a way to feel like you just left it all on the table. Like you don't even have the energy to reflect back and see if it was good or bad.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
just like, it was all there, and no one else is ever going to get to see that again, because the next time it's going to be totally different.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would prescribe to you.
Yeah, it sounds so easy, but I have no idea where to put that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's a weird thing. There's been like a couple of times where I've felt really comfortable, and it's usually when I'm at my loudest.
I was going to say we're in Nashville.
Yeah, I was loud there.
Okay, I gotta wait. I have something that I'm trying to like coach without coaching, because it's a podcast. So let me start with this. Who was your favorite sound guy to work with, and why was it me?
It's you.
Yeah.
Because you're
why?
you're the only person that encouraged me to turn up my amp ever.
Y'all need to
Ever.
understand that. Ever.
I got told to turn down in stadiums.
Yeah.
Ever.
So there have been a few times at gigs where I've witnessed true joy on Kevin's face. And one of them was that day.
Yeah. Can you turn your amp up?
I was like, hey, bro, like, what the fuck's going on over there?
Yeah.
Like, you're barely lighting up the microphone.
Yeah.
And he was like, excuse me? I was like, no, I'm serious. You got like another amp we could plug in? And we did 2 guitar amps. You remember that?
Oh, eventually we did 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Oh, yeah. I was ludicrous.
So we had, it's going to be the title of this episode.
I was ludicrous.
We had side fills, which was a full PA.
Oh, that was great.
We had double 18s on the bottom and 3-way tops on each side.
That was great.
We had 4 monitors for your brother, 2 for you and everyone else on in-ears, and side fills.
Yeah.
That stage, there was a couple spots when you'd stand on that stage, and I went, this is the best sound I've ever heard in my life.
It was so good.
And I know that, I think we had monitor issues with your microphone or something like
Probably.
that. It was a little quiet, but you yell.
Yeah.
And
I was using a 57 too, which sometimes is weird.
yeah. But I remember seeing that in your face. Like, you literally had never been told that. And I just went, you're at like a third of where I want you to be.
Yeah.
And
Well, it was like existentially saying, you were telling me to be more me.
Yeah.
That was like what I registered. That was the thing that gave me the smile. I don't really care how loud I am.
Yeah.
I just want to exist. And like, I want, like, there's something about being able to, and I'll just speak in guitar terms, but you could put this over into life too, which is like, there is a sound that is supposed to happen.
Yes.
Like when I play this, things are moving, whatever the setup is, the end result is supposed to be intentional.
Yes.
There is an intentional finish point to that.
Yeah.
And anything that stifles that along the way is the same thing as repressing emotion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, turn this down, blah, 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 like, get this smaller. Like, no. I have a thing in mind that is supposed to be expressed here, and you're telling me not to express me.
Yeah.
And that was, again, literally like the first time that it's ever happened.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I could be me.
Yeah.
And
like, I'll tell you, man, I was super nervous to walk into that gig because must have been one of our first shows together.
yeah, pretty well.
It must have been because I know I was trying to prove something. I know I was trying to prove something, man. But like when I walked in there, I was like, I have to deliver at the capacity that you guys need me to deliver.
Yeah.
I need to be that musician. And if I choked off your guitar, now I'm hurting the show. And I could just see it in your body language. It's like, it's not right. Like, you need to do what you need to do on stage, and I'll find a way to compensate for it. Because for half the show, I didn't have it on in the PA. I remember that.
Oh, it was pretty loud.
Yeah. And if I did, it was just like top end to make it clear or something. It's just very situational to get the end product to be where it needs to be. Yep. But there are just like only a few moments that I really remember like experiencing joy on your face. And I do think that it was from like, the picture is here. Now I can leave it all on the table.
Yeah.
Because that was a wild show. The one at the church up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a big, like they had a flown PA, which sounded like crap. And the stage that we basically were like, okay, well, we'll bring everything.
Yeah, legit. And we did. But yeah, those are the, that's that thing that like later in life, I discovered that feeling in normal existence.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like flow and just natural me, if you will.
Yeah.
But like that, the reason that was so impactful for me was because it was one of those like, oh, I get to be.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to hide in the back.
Yeah.
Like, come punch me in the face a little bit.
Well, it's just like the other way was 99.9% of every show I've ever played. Right?
Yeah.
So eventually I took away an amp.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, okay, well, I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
I'll get my amp cranked in my little digital box, and I'll listen to it in here.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting at least what's supposed to be
what you
happening.
want, right? Yeah.
And I guess it is what it is. But like that was up until having that, everything just turn down.
I could tell stories from my side because there was another one that I remember. I think we were in McGrath, and the cops came, and I remember you all being like, yo, cops came. Like, what do we do? And I was like, nothing. Like, they're just gonna tell us to shut up. And you're like, really? And it was like, yeah, y'all are really loud and it sounds really good. Like, my bad. And it's like, again, pure joy. Just like, I can't believe the cops came.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I didn't think you'd ever think that would happen either. And then what's funny is like 4 nights later, we're rehearsing to go play in another festival, and we're in my garage, and the cops came again.
Yeah.
And y'all handled it like pros this time.
Yeah.
But it was just like these pure, like joyous moments.
Well, then it was all of a sudden like, oh, invite them.
Yeah. He's like, the cops is like, well, if I take that and don't issue you guys a ticket, then that's technically bribery.
I still like to think they came. But
the kid was there, he said.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He said the kid was going, and that's why he knew what it was.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, those are I don't know, that's like the resounding theme of my life is like trying to figure out the areas that I am not being me.
Yeah.
And giving it space to develop and be me louder.
Yeah.
And there's lots of me that's really quiet,
Yep.
There's lots of me that is just like stifled and pushed down, and I'm just slowly trying to give it life and oxygen.
Yeah.
And
You should. You deserve it.
well, everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, I don't know, that freedom of being, because like we're here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like the thing that I've landed on is just like, we're here. Yep. This thing's going. We're here for a certain amount of time.
Yep.
So
do with it what you will.
Be here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. For a lot of my life, I was just, I didn't think I should be here. Like I just, in my head, it was like, I'm a mistake. This is not supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So now that I've accepted, like, mistake or not, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I don't think I am.
This thing's happening.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that. I'm on this ride, man. Let's ride it.
Yeah.
And
I had a long time of cursing my mom for bringing me into this world and all the shit. And then it's like eventually, like, I'm here.
No amount of cursing seems to change that. So why don't we just live?
So, speaking of spending our lives, quality time and stuff.
Yep.
Talk to me about the shows you've been watching lately.
Oh, man,
What you got on your TV?
Reacher.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Season 2, right?
Yeah, but I rewatched season 1.
Oh,
to
yeah.
get into
See,
season 2.
we just found season 1 and we're like now caught up on season 2 because Friday it just came out, right?
Yeah, I still have to watch that one.
Oh, okay. I won't spoil it, but I do have a question. Do you think that if there's a season 3,
he's getting even bigger?
he's just going to be the Hulk, right?
Dude, like,
It makes no sense how big that dude is.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was rewatching season 1, and like,
He's huge.
like, Tisha can be a witness to this. I kept saying through the whole thing of like, I can't believe how much bigger he is in season 2. Like, he is, well, he said he gained 60 pounds.
How?
Wow.
I don't know how. I know how, but
Come on
But
now.
like, where does he put it?
His lats. His lats and his neck.
Yeah.
His lats and his neck are massive now.
So I don't know if y'all know, but he's wearing Red Wing shoes in both season 1 and season 2. I got my Red
makes
Wings
sense.
on too, but I don't kick as much ass as him.
Not yet.
But if you polish your shoes and if you clean them and take care of them, you can get blood out of them too.
That's good. That's really good.
So
It's product knowledge right there. You can get blood out of these.
why do you need a new shirt? You just bought one. It has blood on it.
There's blood on it.
So, okay, here's my question. Where do you draw the line with them trying to prove that meatheads are way smarter than us? And I don't mean that just in the big guy. I mean that in the whole team.
So I don't.
Because
Excellent point.
You'll see this more in this last episode. You got to watch it and we'll talk about it. But it's like, it feels like they're over explaining the stuff that isn't that complicated, or that like I don't need to understand. I don't need all the details.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. Like we found 2 phones. Which one should we use? Well, this one has this and this and this type of chip, and it is this kind of speeds versus this one has this and this and this. Like I don't care, man. Tell me this one's better and hand it to me. And that's not a direct example because I'm not going to spoil it for you. But like I don't need all of that. I believe that you're smart.
So half the time, I think they got to fill time.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like if you watch that, there's certain episodes, scenes where you're just like, what the hell was that? Like there's an episode where they sit in a car and listen to music that she has on the radio, and he's like asking for some blues, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, he used to listen to this thing. But it's all for the lineup, and this is the product placement part of it because they're in a Jeep Grand Wagoneer or whatever
it is,
which they make sure it's pristine, and they keep showing all the features of it.
Of course.
Since I'm now in car sales, I'm noticing this more and more.
Yeah.
It's like they're about to get in a fight, so she closes the automatic tailgate thing that shuts itself, and it's like, in that scene, it was just like, yeah, it's actually streaming off my phone, and it was one of those like, okay, guys,
the Bluetooth thing.
it was a whole
so
scene.
funny.
It was a whole scene because Jeep was like, you need to say that it streams audio from your phone.
Yeah,
because we need to
at
sell
this
more
good quality
Jeeps.
or whatever. Yeah,
We gave you $2 million. You better be saying if our Jeep does stuff. And that's
it's not bulletproof. We've been proving
no.
that. It doesn't have run flats.
I don't think the Jeep has been shot at, has it? Because they got into another car to get shot at.
That's interesting.
Like
Do
they
you
had
think that there's something behind that too?
Oh, 100%.
Because I heard that villains aren't allowed to have iPhones in movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, keep going.
No. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Like because they're smart, man. If they're going to give you any money at all, they're telling you everything else.
But, and I really don't want to steer too far from this, but like what happens when you watch The Karate Kid and you vote for the other kid? And then like,
It's called they make another show later to explain why that guy wasn't that bad.
well, no, but I'm just saying like, if that's your headspace,
Yeah.
and then now you're like watching like, I don't know, the Green Goblin driving in like a Mercedes, you're like, oh, bro, I need a Mercedes. You know what I mean?
I am a villain.
No, he's the good guy. He's just misunderstood.
Yeah. He's just misunderstood.
And I need the misunderstood
yeah.
vehicle.
Right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Because no one's a villain. I get it. Yeah. No. I just think that script wise,
They're just filling time.
really, like, because like think about it.
Get to the fighting, bro.
Well, like think about it like a record, right? Like
Okay.
you got all this time to make your first record, and you put in all this care and effort and blah 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 blah, and it hits, and you're like, sweet, go tour, blah 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 blah. All right, give me another one. We want another one. Here's your money to give us
What is
another
this,
one.
the 80s? Like, I heard there was a band in the 80s started to make another random point. 10 albums in 8 years.
Yeah.
Get
Woo.
away from me.
Well, I mean, I would love that.
I
would love it.
I've only ever written one song, so. But anyways, keep going.
I have some Jesse demos on my computer. Yeah, I just think that like they get this demand of time to fill because it's like, well, you have this story to tell, and it was a book. So like, yeah, I guess you could try and fill it. But like realistically, the over explanations of things, it's like,
are those the book details that they're trying to get in there? Because everyone always says the book's way better than the movie because they don't get all the details.
Well, yeah, because like you just have the quotations of a book, right? You don't have another voice in there explaining all the dialogue of how they're doing these things. And like he opens his Toshiba, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly.
I always do this. There's your ASMR, everybody.
But that's like, they're trying to make it more intricate, and yes, probably showcase the idea that, my God, he's smart. He's not just big, even though he is just big.
Yeah.
Like he's big.
Because I don't want to be the guy to say that you should not be that big when your job is to get shot at.
Yeah,
that probably is a big canvas to get shot at, bro.
Well, and not to mention, like, he's a drifter. Being that size? No. He's at the gym 4 hours a day.
Yeah. Or he's like cutting logs down and like forging his way to the next town.
Yeah.
But that's when you do it, though.
What do you mean?
When you look like,
oh, so you're in prep.
No.
You just get your weight cut at the end. And then all of a sudden you've had this 2 years of prep and bulk. And then you've done a cut. And then you're like, all right, let's go solve a crime.
No, that's the worst time to do that. What I'm saying is when you look like Zac Efron had a baby with a brick wall.
Yes.
That's when you go like full vagrant. And you just wander because who's going to fuck with you?
Yeah, but I mean, like, also lonely, because who's going to fuck with you?
Well, apparently Dixon
yeah, that's
and
fair.
the chick from the first
Yeah,
season.
that's fair, yeah.
And I mean, hey, they're not my type, but it doesn't look lonely to me.
Yeah, well, at least twice.
When I was in Guatemala, I was at the biggest I ever was, and it was the only time I felt safe just walking around. Everyone else was tiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And when you're aforementioned Zac Efron mixed with a brick wall, everybody's tiny.
Yeah, you're not
The
wrong.
giraffes are tiny.
Yeah.
You know?
Even the big guys that they have to, like, pair him against
to size them up.
so small.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
So here's my next little bit on this. What do you think the state of the one-liner is today? Because it peaked with Arnie.
Yeah, of course.
And
they're really trying to shoehorn in, don't mess with the special investigators.
oh,
which is
man,
just
and that
not
is
cool.
so cheesy.
It is not cool,
No,
man.
I know.
There's nothing, or in an investigation, details matter.
Yeah.
It is not cool.
See,
It's
that's what I'm
super
talking
worried.
about. Like,
It's
that is
super wordy.
way too intricate for what I want.
Yes.
That is way too much explanation.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be the special forces unit or like whatever.
That's also one of those things.
Bring the
that,
kickers
like,
out, bro.
If you think about it, like you write it and you're like, yeah, that
sounded
sounds
way tougher in my
awesome.
head.
Details do matter.
I wonder if that's like an original quote.
Probably.
Because to be fair, we live in a culture where we just skim through stuff and the details don't matter. And they're trying to be like, we're not like them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
We live outside of things. Although, like, they are just straight up murdering people without consequence.
Yeah, but it's the Robin Hood thing. Like, if these people die, do we miss them that much?
Well, no, because they're a generic bad guy.
Yeah.
But like 20-ish people have been killed.
What's the
so
lifetime?
far.
Like, what's the life on that? How many years?
I think death penalty, depending on the state.
Depending on the state, yeah.
And
Where
he's
they
drifting
been?
through.
I was gonna say where they've been. They're in like New York right now.
New York, yeah. And that's, I don't know what
It's a
that
long
would be.
journey from the south or wherever they were before.
Well, and they
Boston or something.
They like hop pretty right. Well, no, Boston's pretty close to New York.
Oh yeah, because what's her name?
It's a
The
train, I
smart
think.
one's all rich now, and she's got all the flight ticket money and all the stuff.
Which is a great way of just being like, yeah, we can do whatever we want. This
Like,
lady's rich.
Since the last season, I have gone full platinum.
I am ludicrous now.
So I really don't want to get into this too much, but do you subscribe to the Illuminati thing?
Am I a part of it?
No,
Is that what you're
no.
asking?
Do you believe that that's a real thing that's out there?
It depends what you mean by a real thing. Because yes, it is a secret organization that was
Sure,
founded
yeah.
in 17, whatever, blah, 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 blah,
Sure.
blah. I think...
Do you think LUDACRIS was offered $200 million from the Illuminati
I
to
don't
be who he
know.
is today?
I don't know. Like there's something that we do as people, and I'm not going to say that it's wrong because I have very little evidence to prove that it's wrong, and I have very little evidence to prove that it's right. So, oh well. But a lot of the times when it comes to viewing other people that are great or have achieved a certain amount, we tend to try and ascribe it to things that are supernatural, things that are outside of the realm of things that could be for us.
It's kind of like they always have luck on their side. But
Yeah.
God
It's-
on their
it's
side or
called like
Illuminati on their side.
Yeah, it's like demigods, right?
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
got you.
oh, he's superhuman. I could never do that. And like, if you look at like a guy like David Goggins, he's a guy that was just a guy, and now he is multimillionaire
He's
guy.
that dude, right?
And almost just to be a case study of like, no, just do the thing, you'll get to the thing. Like, you just have to sacrifice or whatever. But like, when you look at people that get meteoric success, the assumption is that there has to be something supernatural that keeps them apart from us.
Okay.
Right. So it's this like making
Something's working for them, the machine.
something that I can't attain.
Yeah.
There's something that's keeping me away from it
We
because
talk about
I
that
want
in
to
music
be
lots.
Yeah. And like the gatekeeper thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that was the other thing about when I did get to go to Nashville, a lot of that thinking in me died. Because like, oh, I can go to Sony and meet the guy
Just walk in there.
that does the thing that like a friend of mine produced or did engineering on Kesha's record. Like in my head, it's like Kesha's this way.
Yeah.
And
then all
my
of a sudden it's
friend
right there.
has a Grammy because he did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this isn't some lifeless machine that's some sort of deified thing that's supernatural. These are excellent people at doing a thing.
See, and that's always my argument too, because like, and I don't know enough about like the criteria and what falls into it and the signs of people in the Illuminati and stuff. But like, look at Gaga, man. She is one of the hardest working performers in my lifetime. There's a reason why she's that chick, right? And like, look at her perform acoustically with like some superstars. Tony Bennett, I want to say.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I think Elton John, and like playing piano and just like right there with them.
Yeah.
It's like that is a person who has rehearsed and refined and refined and done that thing for a long time, right? Like, I don't know, man. The superstar thing, like, I don't always agree with all of like the fame and celebrity. I really don't believe in celebrity, but some people like they kind of earn their place.
I think both are a thing.
Sure.
So like I don't know if you've watched anything with like the Scientology stuff,
Yeah, a little bit.
but like Scientology is an excellent case point of that, where it's like, hey, we are this group that has this religious belief and we help each other. Right? So you could say shady dealings for sure, but at the same time, you could just say, oh, we're all in this belief structure. And since we share that commonality, we try and help our people within that shared commonality.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, if you look at the idea of an Illuminati thing, it's like, okay, well, if there are people that are a part of a secret society, like we know people that are Freemasons.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I know people in all kinds of colors and brands and shit that they'll be in for the rest of their lives. Like, it is what it is.
and so it's like, okay, well, all of a sudden you got these group that do the same things and they're going to do inner dealings because they're a part of this thing. So do I think that it's a possibility that they're all a part of this thing? Sure. I don't know if it's the rest of it. You know what I mean? But is there an organization that people could be a part of that would do these types of things because that's what those types of groups do? Then yeah.
I almost wonder if that plays into the, like, we have so much money that money isn't the thing anymore. Like, as long as we keep this machine flowing and greased up and everything, it's like we'll just keep growing those bubbles you were talking about before because it just keeps padding ours. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's coming from a good placement. So it's like, you know, we're dishing out 20 billion here, 20 billion here. That person's doing this with all these hundreds of thousands of people. And it's like, whoever's pulling the strings, man, he's got to hope that they got a good heart at the end of the day, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think it's 3% of the population is psychopaths.
Oh, I bet.
Like,
That's not bad. That's not bad odds.
It is bad. That's a terrifying number. And I don't know if that's it. I think it's 3% of CEOs are psychopaths.
That sounds about right.
But like there are people of different personality types out there.
Yep.
And some of them are not going to be altruistic. Just doesn't exist. Some of the people do not have empathy.
Yep.
They just don't possess it. So, okay. Yep. Well, there's going to be good and bad. And not everybody's going to be wanting to grow bubbles and be super hippie,
Yep.
you know, peace and love version of things that I would try and be.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I only say that because I don't have it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know how it would feel to be in that type of position. But
like, no, I'm going to save that one. Do you think if you grew up with money and you could do those things, do you think you would just like say like you'd just be like, oh man, like that's one thing, but you know, I could be doing something else, like the same as what you're saying right now? Like I never had that, so that's easy. What if you did have it? Or
then you have a whole different host of problems.
Here's a better situation. Do you think that it's better now, like if you came into the wealth that provided for that because you've been where you are, rather than if you just had it your whole life?
I think so. Like lottery idea. Like if I got the lottery.
No, because the lottery is too much. The lottery is too much. Say like you work your way up over the next 3 years to where you're earning 6 figures comfortably.
You said the right words, which is work your way.
Yeah.
Right.
So like is that better than if 100%. You were just comfortable with that? Like, do you think you could trust yourself better being who you are today, building into that, rather than just being like, hey, I graduated high school, now I make $100,000 a year?
Yeah. A lot of my childish behaviors are dead or dying.
Okay.
So I would do better with more now than I would if I was younger.
How old do you view yourself when you're in that seat talking about like older you or bully you, that kind of voicing? Like, how old are you imagining these figures? When I use the word bully, I feel like I'm about 14 and I'm imagining a friend of mine's brother, and he wasn't a bully, but like that's just what I think is like that age category.
I tend to picture myself as now because then it makes it more ridiculous.
Interesting.
Because like if I'm yelling at a 7-year-old.
Oh, no. Not like for you to be like conscious of it, but like when you're in that situation, like how are you feeling? Because I don't want to feel like a 14-year-old either.
Yeah, no, it's teenager. It's very like impulsive and irrational.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like and then what about the bully? Like what's the age grouping on that?
It'd be about the same, I think. Probably when I was getting bullied.
Like peer age for you? Or like, okay.
More than likely. Because I remember the first time I got bullied, I was actually confused. Like I didn't get it. I really didn't understand the concept for some reason.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to understand that I was getting bullied. And it was one of those like, again, I don't know. My brain doesn't work the same in terms of certain things for people.
Yeah.
But when all of a sudden I understood it, then it was like, okay, that's probably around the age. And it's probably in that somewhere like grade 8 or 9 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like up until then, I didn't understand it really.
Yeah.
It was one of those like, because I was always kind of cool with everybody.
Yeah.
And to like pick on me was weird.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons it was weird.
I was always like that too.
Because it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This doesn't...
Or like if you say something goofy to me, I'll just say it back to you and it becomes funny. It's not like a fight anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I guess maybe it was more too that I was seeing more bullying happen. Like I would see people get picked on more.
Yeah.
And I could see how just like strange that all is.
See, I got picked on by older kids. And that's why, like, for me, it's like that age group, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's actually interesting. I was talking to my mom about it. When I was like in grade 7, this kid in grade 9 wanted to fight me. Just, I don't know why.
Yep.
Just wanted to fight me.
That's what they do.
Yeah. And then it turned out that they just moved in next door to where my parents lived.
Wow.
So me being the kid that I was, just went outside and waited. So let me know when you want to do this. And he says, hey man, maybe we should talk about this. And I say, yeah, we probably should. Yeah. Like, you live here now, bro. Like, we got to be cool with each other. You know what I mean? And like, you know, rest in peace. He had passed away. But yeah, it was just like, that was a weird thing. You know what I mean?
So like, bully in your head is like a couple years older than your perceived inner child.
Yeah, like the fragile child that can be bullied. Because like today, man, there's no chance. There's not one person in the world that could bully me. Like I wouldn't accept it. And even if they were trying, it just like it wouldn't do to me what they were trying to do, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So what I picture is, or like when I do go into that like little shell, I feel like I'm about 13, 14. And I feel like it's like someone 16, 17 picking on me. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And it's usually just me sitting in this room by myself.
Yeah.
But that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think everybody gets like a version of that. You know what I mean? Because like, again, the age disparity for me is like I'm much younger in my head.
Okay.
And then
like currently.
Oh no, like with my the person of me that's getting bullied by me is much younger.
Okay.
There's a real, and that's also where it makes no sense because there's like a real age disparity there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Now again, I see it differently, and I have a bit of awareness about it. So it just I changed the wording, I changed the whole language around it.
You can really see it coming, kind of.
Well, not always.
You're intervening though, right?
Yeah. Like a big part of this for me is how am I doing physically will translate into how I'm doing emotionally.
Oh, absolutely.
Like my, like for anybody that doesn't know themselves in their world yet, I would highly recommend understanding, like maybe take a look at Dr. Daniel Ammon's book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, to understand what area of your brain is causing you the distress.
Okay.
Like Miley Cyrus went to him. That's like when she had that big change away from drugs and alcohol. She had been treated
smoking
by him.
and all that stuff. Right? Yeah.
Because like there are portions of her brain that are responsible for certain types of emotions and certain types of thought processes, and if those are overactive or underactive, they will express themselves through certain like psychological situations. So your thought processes don't necessarily equate to that's how you actually feel and think. That can be exacerbated by your blood being more so or less so in an area of your brain. And there are things that you can do to help that. So for me, it's like if I'm taking care of my body and I don't have that inflammation, the thought processes are easy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's when you go through Christmas and you're eating candies and
gravy,
all that stuff, and then all of a sudden a couple days later you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm in a deep
Everything's
well.
blurry and
I'm in a
nothing's
deep
working.
well. And that's what happened to me this year. And I knew it would, because like going into Christmas, you're just going to bail on everything.
Then you got a new girl in your life and there's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, like, not even that. It's like just work. They bring treats.
Yeah,
Really, that's what it
happened.
came down to. It was just like they bring treats at work, and I
They're
just
here.
ate every single one of them.
Yep.
And then, 10 days of doing that leading up to Christmas, then all of a sudden, I'm in like a microcosm of depression. So I need to get myself back out of it. And then all of a sudden, if I'm in that, I'm back to the normal ludicrous type thinking.
Speaking of that, I am going to kind of push this towards the end here. I do want to try to prioritize keeping indie music alive, especially with this chat.
100%.
And I don't know if we'll be able to do all the ones I want to go through today, but there is one that I had by special request for you specifically.
Oh, okay.
And I'm hoping that after this conversation, you can just be free to just be yourself and let him know what you think of this.
Okay.
He requested the instrumentals specifically so you could hear all the parts,
Cool.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, let me pull this up, y'all.
Sounds like my jam.
All right, this is my friend Junie, y'all. He's a friend from Germany. I keep saying that funny. And this is a Stray Kids cover called God's Menu, which I believe I've shown you this one.
Okay.
And it's just the instrumental. Let me know if it's too loud or if you need me to turn it down, or we'll just listen to it through. It's 2.5 minutes.
I like it already.
Loud enough? I'll pause it. What do you think?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah?
Yep, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit hard to hear without the words to understand. I know this is another song, right?
Yeah.
And he's just done a remake of it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool, right?
Oh yeah.
What I appreciate, man, is like there's subtle changes between like the accessory, like cymbals and stuff in the drummer or in the drum kit, like the placements of it and the pitching of it. It's like that's so how a drummer would play.
Well, that's the first thing I noticed, because obviously he's a guitar player, right?
Yeah.
And
And he produces all this. Like he put it all together. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say it's a very convincing drummer.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Like he and like I tend to try and do this, but I've noticed that I don't do this as well as Mike or Zach. Like
Drummers.
yeah, real drummers. They tend to write the way they would play, whereas like with the guitar player, we're not playing the drums.
Yeah.
We just wanted to match our guitars.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason
Keep
the
up,
drums
drummer.
are there. Everybody is there to match our awesome rhythm guitars. That's like how we think.
Yeah.
Anyway, the drums were really cool, like natural, like drummer drums.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm used to, because I do it, guitar players making drummers do guitar riffs on drums.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something really cool about a drummer being a drummer.
I got you. Pre-chorus, I think.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Isn't it disgusting?
Yeah, back that up one more time.
Yeah, I will. I will. Oh, not yet.
Yep.
It's tough, right?
Yeah, yeah. Bro's right hand is solid.
It's
dude.
disgusting, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it sounds like it like you do this like a lot too, where it feels like it's like breaking something. Yeah. Like and it could be good production, it could be good a bunch of things, but I do think a lot of it is the player.
Hand.
It's got to be
hand.
him.
You
like
can hear it.
Yeah,
Like that's what one of the things that I was listening to through the whole thing is like he's controlling exactly when he wants that, because like it's like when you're pushed through an amp or through a pickup or through even just like the capacitors of the volume knobs and things like that. It's one of the reasons that I liked guitars in general, because like your right hand for a long time I did a tuner into an amp.
yeah.
Like that was when I had my Soldano. It was that. And I would do volume knob and my hand, and that was it. And I was trying to get down to just single pickup guitars to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like whatever
off.
this thing does is because I'm doing it. And I can hear him doing that. Where it's like he's giving it times where it's really pulled back tonally from his right hand. And then there's these counterpoints where he's letting it roar and open up. And then there's a whole section in there where he's going only on the top end of the roar. There's no meat to it. And that's through his hand, I'm pretty sure. And like it's to give this like tone, which comes across perfectly in the song.
Yeah.
But like that's the one thing that like, yeah, you can play notes, but how you play them is everything.
Yeah.
And this dude is playing.
Oh yeah, man. Like a lot of people won't hear the musicianship in this style of music, and that's okay because it's not for everyone. But like the way that he's making that guitar talk reminds me of like Stevie Ray Vaughan playing a guitar and making it sing. You know what I mean? Or like Eric Clapton just making notes just sing. Like this is just another genre of that happening.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I only got to do this a few times with guitar students when I was teaching, but like getting them to play the same thing and give different emotions when they play it. Like I would always bring up like a Mayer solo or something like that, something that they wanted to learn. But it's like, okay, but now play it sad. You know what I mean? Like you have to know that you can play the exact same notes and have it convey a different thing. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely
like-
agreed.
Yeah, it's fun. It's my kind of jam.
Good.
Yeah, right in there, like on the right hand guitar there.
Just disgusting,
Oh
right?
man, it's got this like growl to it. Oh, that's so good.
But I think he's also playing lower gain than I would expect for how much distortion is here. Yeah.
You have to. When you want to push into something like that, you want to like distortion will give you more compression and you lose that feel.
Yeah.
part. And that's where like the heaviest guitar tones usually tend to be less and less gain. Like that one that I showed you
More
recently.
and more right hand.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's more and more like you're forcing the sound to come out rather than it just being like distortion.
Yeah.
It's like no,
It's broken up. Be like,
yeah.
no, I'm breaking it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not everybody understands that.
Yeah.
That's one of those like some guys will just gain to 11.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no,
You lost
you're
all the
missing
body,
it.
bro.
You're
Yeah.
missing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the thing talk.
I gotta back it up again. Right? I also think he does a good job of like when I'm headbanging, I like you assume that it's gonna be with the beat, but every once in a while it's like right where it should be for the headbang. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, like it's almost like it's written for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it does something. It's like a cool feeling because like to headbang along with something is cool, but for it to impact with you is cool too.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
I just an idea for, dude, I don't know this song.
Yeah.
But like, it might not be a bad idea to make it so that like the melody is you soloing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because like there's lead ins and outs. And I know if you know the song, it will probably be easier to follow. But like you just had 2 sections there of like lead ins and outs.
Yeah.
That I think if you led with whatever's happening there, usually in the vocal, and just make it like lead, like obviously you're a dope rhythm player. I can hear it.
Yeah.
But like if you can create some sort of like extra layer on top of that so that you have basically an entirely original composition that's all instrumental.
Yeah.
But you're using the natural cadence of what's going to be there in the song to do those extra leading tones into those types of sections. Yeah, just an idea.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that. I mean, he'll hear this, but I like that.
Yeah. See what I mean? Like right in through there. Like I know that something's happening there.
Yeah.
And you've got this wicked opportunity of like in and out.
Yeah.
And so you can play with that more if you wanted
like
to do
play
that.
with that negative space a little bit. Yeah.
Because like I get it. What you've got here is dope. Like I get why you would just put this, but like it would give you an opportunity to do that kind of melodic-y solo
Create
thing.
some content on top of it too.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And like, again, play off that song structure to add to those, because you've done this for the worded version, right? Like I can hear that. It's assembled to fit with your interpretation of what's happened here. And I think if you added in a melodic solo version, it'll probably let you just kind of, well, like, you know, swing out. And then just another, yeah. you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just every once in a while, you got to throw it on the table and let them know.
Throw it on the table, remind them who you are, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Just a thought, anyways.
Yeah, I like that. Disgusting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's killer, right?
Yeah, he's it's like
We should do a song with him.
that's like action movie guitars, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
saying,
what
man.
I love doing.
He's got to
It's
get
just-
these in like a movie crew. Like, what are those called?
Wow.
They played in your
Trailers?
movies?
Trailers?
No, it's some kind of a credit. Like when I own the song and I sell you royalties
Oh, yeah.
so that you can put it in your movie. What's that
Yeah.
called?
Licensing.
Yeah, it's a type of licensing though.
Sure.
Anyway,
Totally.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's what I love about. I know it's one of those things where it's like not everybody loves that about music, but it's
Yeah.
like let's make this as cool as we absolutely can at all times.
See,
I love that.
There is something I want out of some of the rhythm sections, and the only place I know it is in this song. And this will probably get blocked on YouTube, so I apologize. There's this like,
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
yeah, there's like this saturation or something that they're doing in this. It goes down to that low C. There's so much.
Yeah, sizzle.
Like,
Lots
well,
of sizzle.
It's everywhere, right?
Well, and like
I think they're adding something that presses that chord more.
well, like there's a plugin called Devil Lock. And that is probably, I would say, everybody's little go-to thickness maker.
Okay.
If you pull it up, I could show you what it does. It's a saturator, right? Like it gives you like 6 different. It's Devil LOC.
Like that?
LOK.
Oh.
Devil Lock, I think. Yeah. So it's that little plugin there from Sound Toys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that thing is just like it's a simple saturator of different styles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And different versions of like this exist. And it's one of those things where it's just like, we've got a normal guitar tone and then we need it to harmonically engage with this situation more. So we either parallel through this. So you've got your normal tone and you've got this extra thing on top of it. The latest, what's the name of the band? I was just listening to this. From England. Ah, dang it. It'll come to me.
Story of the year.
No.
That's okay. It'll come to you.
But anyways, it's a trick that's happening a lot right now, which is just like, hey, while the mix has like thinned out a little bit for like a solo or something like that, we're going to make it so that things take up way more space and either parallel through them. You can do this to bass, you can do this to drums, you can do this to guitars. But I think that's what you're hearing in there, where it's just like all of a sudden nothing's really changed in the guitar tone, but all of a sudden there's like,
it's just so much. Yeah. Cause like the chord is still true. It doesn't sound like he's playing like C here, C here, C here.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's like this wall of it. Like everything.
Well, and there's other little tricks that you can do with that. You can take a guitar tone, you can split it off to the side and throw it through a reverb and then cut off all of the EQ. So it's as if you've got
It's
it
just
on
like space.
like a guitar cabinet rattle,
Yeah.
rumble. And all of a sudden, if you push that in every once in a while, you've got this like low end delayed a bit rumble that happens underneath stuff.
Interesting.
And that'll take up more of that low mid.
That low shelf.
Yeah, kind of just like under your 200s.
Yeah.
To kind of give it that extra like,
Yeah.
but you didn't gain anything else. The
Yeah.
guitar tone has not changed because you've moved it to the side and you've pushed it back in time and space.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you've got this like extra beef and you can do that on both. That's a Bendeth trick.
Okay.
He used to do that stuff all the time. There's like,
Perfect.
Yeah,
Love Bendeth.
there's like certain Bendeth songs where you can hear exactly how he's treated his reverbs to the other side of the other guitar. Because like if you listen in both headphones, there'll be breaks where it cuts down to one guitar, and you can hear the treatment on the other side. And it's like,
interesting.
oh, okay, I get it.
Cool.
He's basically taking this thing, and now the low end information is here later.
Yeah.
From the thing that's happening here.
Interesting.
It's kind of like the same idea as a sub kick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Subkick,
like a
since
polarity thing
phase,
almost.
Yeah, a phase flip has happened, so therefore the impact of the top end and the low end is happening together.
Yeah.
But they're not
They're
interfering
not
with
competing
each other.
with each other. Yeah. Interesting.
So little tricks like that, where if you want to like take up a whole shitload of space for some reason, but you could take it further than that too.
Yeah.
Even with like the new guitar stuff, like the helixes and things like that, they have guitar patches that do that.
Yeah.
Just in them.
I would love that. I miss those days.
Well, you got plenty.
I've got plenty. Anything else you want to wrap up with? Anything worth mentioning? Kind of strayed away from our show a little bit, but this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, a little bit. It's usually how it goes. We just chat.
Yeah, we're just here for a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah,
Until
buddy.
next week.
Appreciate you.
See you on the next one. Yeah, man, I like this little spot. But I'm going to need some chairs with some lumbar support. Holy shit.